She ruled a vast kingdom, her name whispered with a mix of fear and reverence. But behind the cold marble walls of her palace, Queen Zara's heart was a fortress of loneliness. Power was her crown, but solitude was her throne. Among the countless faces that served her, one stood apart. Malik. He was a slave, spoil of war from a land her father had conquered long ago. His past was a tapestry of loss, his spirit bent, but not broken. While others groveled, their heads bowed low in her presence, Malik met her gaze. There was no flattery in his eyes, no pleading, just a quiet dignity that intrigued the queen. He never begged for her favor, never flinched from her authority. He simply was. And in his silent observance, she saw something she had never encountered before, a soul that mirrored her own isolation. It started with a stolen glance, a fleeting moment of connection across a crowded hall. Then a question whispered in the dead of night, far from the prying ears of the court. She would find excuses to be near him, seeking him out in the quiet gardens or the dusty library, places where a queen had no business being. Their conversations began in secrecy, tentative at first, then flowing like a river breaking through a dam. He spoke of his lost home, of the sun on his face, of a freedom he could only dream of. She spoke of the crushing weight of her crown, the gilded cage she lived in, the endless political games that chipped away at her soul. In those shadowed corners, they weren't queen and slave. They were just Zara and Malik. They found shared pain in their different prisons. They discovered a shared humanity that transcended status, wealth, and power. Zara found herself captivated by his strength, his resilience, and the gentle wisdom in his words. He saw past the powerful monarch to the vulnerable woman beneath. Slowly, inevitably, against all reason and every law of her kingdom, Queen Zara fell deeply in love with the one man who was utterly forbidden to her. Their love was a beautiful, dangerous secret. A stolen touch in a dark corridor, a shared smile that held 1,000 unspoken words. For a time, their hidden world was enough. It was a sanctuary where her heart could finally breathe. But secrets in a royal court have a way of seeping through the cracks like water through stone. A jealous courtier, a suspicious guard, a lady-in-waiting with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue, the whispers began. They grew from a murmur to a roar, an accusation that shook the very foundations of the palace. The queen and the slave. The truth, when it finally erupted, was a firestorm. The royal council, her own advisors, the nobles who had sworn fealty to her, they were scandalized, outraged. Their sense of order, of propriety, was shattered. To them, it wasn't love. It was a disgrace, a stain on the crown. They saw her love not as a testament to her heart, but as a weakness that threatened the stability of the entire kingdom. The verdict was swift and brutal. The slave, Malik, had bewitched the queen, overstepped his station, and for his crime, he must pay with his life. They demanded his public execution. The court gathered in the grand throne room, the air thick with tension and cruel anticipation. They expected their queen to be chastened, to see reason, to sacrifice the man for the sake of her reign, expected her to be a ruler. But they had underestimated Zara. They had underestimated the power of the love she had found. Malik was brought before them in chains, his head held high, his eyes finding hers across the cavernous room. Silent promise passed between them. Zara, draped in the full regalia of her office, rose from her throne. Her voice, clear and unwavering, silenced the murmuring crowd. She did not plead. She did not negotiate. She looked at the men who thought they controlled her and delivered her own judgment. "You demand his death," she declared, her gaze sweeping over their stunned faces. "You believe his life is mine to take, to discard for the sake of this crown. You are wrong." She took a deep breath, the most important one of her life. "If he dies, I abdicate. It's the throne, this kingdom, this power you hold so dear, it will be yours. I will have no part in it." A collective gasp echoed off the high ceilings. Abdicate. A queen had never relinquished the throne for a slave. It was unthinkable. It was madness. But as they looked into her eyes, they saw no madness. They saw absolute conviction. That day, Queen Zara did more than save the man she loved. She issued a royal decree that would be remembered for centuries. The single stroke of her pen, she abolished slavery, granting freedom to every man, woman, and child held in bondage within her kingdom's borders. Then, true to her word, she took off her heavy crown and placed it on the empty throne. She unclasped the royal cloak and let it fall to the floor. She was no longer Queen Zara. She walked down from the dais, leaving behind a lifetime of power and privilege. She walked past the shocked faces of her court, her step light and unburdened. Why, she walked to Malik, where a guard, shaken and confused, unlocked his chains. Zara took his hand in hers, and together they walked out of the throne room, out of the palace, and into a new life. They walked away from a kingdom, hand in hand, with nothing but each other and their freedom. They chose love over power, humanity over a title. It leaves us with a question that echoes through the ages. What is true power? Is it a crown and a throne? Or is it the freedom to love who you choose? What would you be willing to give up for the one your heart belongs to? Is love worth losing a kingdom? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.